We want to welcome the county judge, Curtis Parrish. We've got him on the lines. Curtis, how are things going your direction?
Well, good, Matthew. How are you this morning? David,
I'm
good morning.
Well.
I heard you talking earlier about the Pat Mahomes haircut.
Yeah.
And Dave, I think you could rock that. Just saying. I think you could rock it.
If you could grow the hair to get it out.
Oh, yeah, well, there's that part too. So
I think what I'm going to do, Curtis, I'm going to grow my hair out. You know, I shave my head. But I think I'm going to grow it out just so I can get the Mahomes haircut.
I think that would be a great look on you, my friend.
But
David.
Dave, the problem is that the Mahomes cut is bald on the sides and has all the hair on top, and you're bald on top, but you can grow hair on the sides, right?
Well, you didn't have to bring that up.
I brought it up. No, things are going really good here at the county. We really are.
Well, listen, Judge,
everyone's working hard.
I know that you're not probably an expert at constitutional law, because I know you're a lawyer, but we've been talking about what's going on with Supreme Court Judge Roberts and this trial, and so I would like to maybe get your input, since you do have some expertise in that area.
Sure.
How do you impeach Donald Trump when he is just a citizen now?
Okay. Okay, well, David, let's get our language straight. The President Trump was already impeached. The House does the impeaching,
and he was the president at the time.
And then the Senate conducts the trial as to whether or not to remove him from office.
There you go. I understand that. But he's already out of office. So what is this, just an exercise in futility?
Yeah, I think so. I think from and remember, all impeachments in this entire process is very much a political process. So I think what you're seeing is you're seeing Democrats who want to make sure that if they take this all the way through the trial process in the Senate, and he's quote-unquote removed from office, this prevents him from coming back and running again, is their thought.
Point of all this,
I believe that's the point of all this.
Yeah.
But also it's just to, completely, totally discredit and quash the entire Trump presidency. If they could do this. So it is political. Anybody who thinks that this is not political, it is. Everything about an impeachment and the process of impeachment is political. It was political. It was political during the Bill Clinton days. It was political during Trump's first impeachment. It's political in the second impeachment. It's always been and always will be a political move.
Well, and I'll tell you, Judge, I've just never seen anything like it in my 70-plus years on this planet. I have not seen anything like what is going on now. We have a texture this morning that says this is now the most corrupt country in the world. Law and order, the Constitution, and just plain old common sense do not exist amongst the majority of those in positions of power. And that's from one of our listeners this morning, Rob. And I agree with that. Just from my perspective, as just an ordinary citizen looking at all this, it just seems like that we're just kind of blowing in the wind out there, and nobody. We have no law and order, and they're just kind of doing what they want to do.
That's not true at the county level, is it, Curtis?
Well, no, we have plenty of law and order. Remember. Politics is also very cyclical. So what we see happening now, we'll see coming back the other way. We will have a generation that will be so fed up with the politics that they'll turn around and there'll be some massive reform. The reform will have to take place, though, in the election booth.
I'm ready for it.
It will have to take place there. And when it does, the things that you value, and remember, elections have consequences. So, but I will also say, here's the one thing, David, and if you want to look back, never in your lifetime kind of things, you lived through the 60s. You know how divisive we were in the 60s here as a
Boy,
nation.
no kidding.
But and even in our nation's history, we've been very, very divisive at times. A little thing called the Civil War was a very divisive action in our country. So we have been very divisive before. What we haven't seen, and this is kind of the new little twist to what's going on now, is social media and how information is spread, and whether it be false information, whether it be real, true information, doesn't really matter. It's how it's done, and it's done instant. You know, it used to be where people got their news sometimes a day late. You know, that's what made Walter Cronkite really almost a household name, is he brought you the news of the day. And that became a deal. We would get newspapers, we being the nation, would get their news sometimes weeks late. So it's a little bit different. Now we get news almost as it's happening. Not almost. As it's happening, we will be able to see, touch, feel, and when I mean feel, like the emotions of whatever is happening in real time. And that's a very new thing, at least in the last 20 years or so.
Well, and I have said this very same thing, Judge, not as eloquently as you are, but exactly the same thing. In fact, you know what I think? I think one of the problems that we have in society today is we have too much news. We have too many news sources chasing too few of advertising dollars to stay afloat, and it causes the news organizations to try to be the first out there, try to be the most spectacular, the most sensational, and that's
because that's the business model, and so it really is capitalism at its best when you think about it.
That's right, or in this case, it may be capitalism at its worst. But
maybe.
But anyway, we listen, Judge. I know that you have been under the weather with COVID. How are you doing?
Oh, well, thank you. No, I'm doing fine. I'm about 2 months COVID free, so we're doing okay. My last symptoms was it was the Friday after Thanksgiving, which was 2 months ago. Believe it or not, and it's hard to believe, but we're 2 months away from Thanksgiving, and you know we're doing fine. I was blessed. Brenda and I were blessed. We both had COVID at the same time, so we were able to kind of quarantine and isolate together. So we didn't have to isolate from each other. So we were able to kind of help.
So she was still able to cook for you, right?
Absolutely. No, we took care of each other. I'm not a complete loser about that. But I will say that as blessed as we were during COVID, I will say that many of our friends were not as blessed.
Oh,
and for that, I am so heartbroken. I mean, we have lost and are continuing to lose some of our best and brightest, and even those that some would say, well, it's just kind of weeding out the old ones. That's a generation. That is some wisdom that is going away. That is heartbreaking to me. And you know, when I we're very active, involved in church, and we see some of our older church members who are succumbing to COVID. It is absolutely heartbreaking.
Right.
Absolutely.
And you know, Judge, you and I lost a friend, Tom West.
And Tom did not. And Tom did not. He didn't fit in those demographics. No, he was. Well, I mean, he was as old as I am. He and I were approximately the same age. You know, the guy was a marathon runner. You know, and he was very healthy, and COVID destroyed him.
Yes.
And it is unfathomable to me how we are going to collectively, as a society, grieve through this, and we will. We just haven't yet. I think we're still kind of in that. You know, if you talk about the stages of grief, we're still many. There are many in our society that are still in the denial part of that. And I think we will. I think we will get into the anger and the denial, and hopefully we as a nation, we as a society, will come to this acceptance part. And when we get to the acceptance, then we will be able to minister and to love on each other as we deal with this. But right now, collectively, we're not. And I will tell you, Dave, that as the probate judge of Lubbock County, I've seen a marked increase in the number of probate cases that I do here just in Lubbock County. I can't speak for the rest of the nation, but I will speak for Lubbock County. We did. Let me pull my numbers. In 2020, I did over almost 750 probate hearings. 750. And many of those, starting in roughly around the summertime to the end of the year, were COVID-related. And it is just absolutely heartbreaking to listen to the stories of families day after day after day telling about the loss of their loved ones because of this COVID. Husbands and wives who have been married for 50, 60, even 70 years, dying within hours or days of each other because of COVID. Heartbreaking for those families. And then not able to collectively grieve how we have been, how we want to grieve. Where our families and friends gather at church and we hug on each other and we comfort each other. All of that has been postponed or eliminated. And so when I go back to that issue of we've got to learn how to grieve again or grieve even differently, this is what I'm talking about. We've not been able to do that collectively as a people, but there will be a time, and there will be an opportunity for us to collectively grieve what we have lost because of this virus.
Yes, I agree with you, Judge. And we do have to run. We've got to take a break here. We're running a little late, but we do have a texter that says the county judge could rock it. Go for it, Judge. I think he's referring to the Mahomes haircut, but I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll be right back on Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. Welcome back to Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. We want to get right back to the phones. We've got the county judge, Curtis Parrish, Lubbock County Judge Curtis Parrish.
Good morning.
Make sure everyone knows which county on the phone. And Curtis, I know that y'all had we're only going to have a few minutes in this segment, but I know that y'all had a meeting yesterday, a commissioner's court meeting. Was there anything big that happened in the commissioner's court meeting yesterday?
No, not really. But I'll tell you what we're really getting set up for. As many of you know, after 72nd District Court Judge Ruben Reyes passed away from COVID last year, we had the governor made an appointment to that position to fill the unexpired term. He chose Anne Marie Carruth, who was the judge of the County Court at Law number 3. Okay, so she took the oath of office on Sunday. So now she is the district court judge for the 72nd District Court. Well, that created a vacancy in the County Court at Law seat when she vacated to go be 72nd. Now, according to law, it is the Commissioner's Court. It is the 5 of us in the Commissioner's Court that appoint a judge to that position. So we are now in the process of making that appointment. What we will do, we've already taken the applications. In fact, we've closed applications. We've had a total of 15 applicants for the County Court at Law number 3 position. What we will do is we will hold interviews this week. We're scheduled for Thursday and Friday for all 15. Everyone who applied will be interviewed by the Commissioner's Court. That will be done in an open court. So starting Thursday morning at 9 o'clock, anybody can come to the courthouse and sit in and listen to the interviews for each of those 15 judges or 15 judge candidates.
So, Curtis, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
Is this a position that would normally be election?
Yes. This is an elected position. So what we will do is we will fill the term for the unexpired. Judge Carruth had 2 years remaining on her term. And so we will fill what's called the unexpired term.
And then they'll have to get elected for the rest.
And then that person will choose to run for election on their own. And, of course, as any election, if you qualify, you can run against them as well. So, but this is to fill that unexpired term literally for the next 2 years. We will do the interviews. I'm targeting February the 8th as the appointment date. So we will do the interviews this week. The Commissioners Court will then debate on those, targeting an appointment for February the 8th.
Okay. All right. Well, we do have to take a quick break, but Curtis Parrish, county judge, when we come back, we would like to talk a little bit about what's going on with the Expo Center, if that's all right. We'll be right back on Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. Welcome back to Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. Got County Judge Curtis Parrish, Lubbock County Judge again, Curtis Parrish, on the phones right now, and we have some questions just because I haven't heard anything lately about the Expo Center. Is there any new news, or are we still just kind of in a waiting period?
Well, mostly we're just letting the process kind of work right now. What we've got is, I do know that the architects and design team they are working hard. I was able to briefly meet with the architects over the weekend, just briefly, and I do know they're working hard. We do have, as we had talked about, I think last time, Lubbock County, the Commissioners Court has formed a citizens committee to oversee the venue, the multi-purpose arena, the Expo Center, to oversee the design, development, and ultimately the construction and operation of the facility going forward. That committee is at work right now. They're organizing themselves, putting it together. I'm very proud of the citizens that have stepped up and said, yes, we want to be a part of this process. Very proud of that. So I think what's going to happen is you're going to see probably a lot more movement, hopefully around March, when we start seeing, or at least when the committee starts seeing these preliminary drawings coming from the architect and the design team. With that, though, we will also have a better idea and a better grasp of what this facility ultimately is going to cost. For me, that's kind of the big thing right now. How much are we going to spend? What kind of facility are we going to get? What kind of bang for our buck are we going to get? And right now, and as I think, Matthew, as you pointed out, there is kind of a holding pattern. And that's due to a number of factors, but one really particular factor is that we're depending on our hotel occupancy tax to fund this facility. And as many of you know, since COVID began, our hotel occupancy in Lubbock has declined. That being said, it does not give us as much revenue that we had anticipated when this whole project began. So we're having to kind of back off a little bit, re-examine exactly what this facility will be looking at. That's the job of the committee. I'm very proud of them. They're great citizens. They want absolutely what is best for Lubbock. Remember, the whole point of this is to build a facility that the citizens of Lubbock and all of West Texas will be able to use for the next 40 to 50 years. So I want to make sure we get this right today so that our future generations will be able to enjoy what we are building for them as well.
So the hotel-motel tax, have the numbers gotten any better?
Yes. Oh, absolutely they have. I need to reiterate that. We're seeing the economy, especially here in Lubbock. Now, again, I can't speak for the economy in Dallas or Fort Worth or San Francisco or anywhere else in the nation. I do know Lubbock. And in Lubbock, we are seeing a rebound. We're seeing a rebound in our unemployment rate. I know the unemployment rate came out yesterday, and Lubbock's at 5.6%, doing much, much better. And I think we're seeing the rebound from what we saw, what COVID had devastated us, coming back. Lubbock is a very resilient community. Our economy is very resilient, but we still do depend on the entertainment and tourism. We still have a large part of our economy that is dependent on that. That industry is hurting right now. And I'll tell you, to that end, too, we were able to, I guess, be a part of the first big public event at the Buddy Holly Hall over the weekend. And you talk about an amazing crown jewel for the people of Lubbock and West Texas. We watched the Lubbock Symphony Orchestra on Saturday night. If you have not had an opportunity to go through, look at that building, please find an event that's coming up, buy a ticket for it, and go in there. You will not be disappointed. It is an amazing facility and an amazing venue for Lubbock. That's something that we can be absolutely proud of, that will promote our entertainment industry in Lubbock literally for the next 50, 60 years.
So let me ask you this. Is there, and I already pretty much know the answer, but is there any ETA at all on when ground will be broken on the Expo Center?
I think if the targeting dates that, and of course, nothing set in stone. Everything's just kind of scribbled in dirt, if you want to continue with those analogies. But if we can get the architecture design locked in over the summer, and of course, if we are able then to go out and get the bonding necessary to support that particular design and development, we could be looking at a groundbreaking at least to the end of the summer, maybe in the beginning of fall.
Yeah. So we did have David Cho on last week. And
great guy, man. I love David.
He was
one of my favorite people in the world.
Yeah, he's great, and he was telling us a little bit about the Buddy Holly Center as well. And he's so excited to be actually in there and doing performances. So,
well, I'll tell you, if you we were sitting kind of at the ground level. Of course, everything was not in it. People were not in their usual seats, as it were.
Right.
And so the seats that Brenda and I were sitting at were really kind of toward the back of the first level. And first of all, there's not a bad seat in the house.
Right.
But
which is how they built it.
Yeah, the acoustics in this building are phenomenal. So they had maybe about 20 members of the symphony orchestra on stage. They were doing Vivaldi's violin concerto, the Four Seasons.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I mean, you could hear, even from the back of the room, you could hear the bow crossing across the string. It is so crisp. It's better than wearing a headset and listening to this. It is that nice. And so when that viola was hitting those F and C's, you bump, 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 bump. It was so crisp, so clear. It was almost soul lifting. It was so nice. And so I would encourage all the citizens of Lubbock and West Texas, if you get a chance, please go watch an event, a musical event, an entertainment event at the Buddy Holly Hall. You will not be disappointed.
Well, Curtis, I don't know that there is another venue like this anywhere. This is truly
it isn't.
State of the art.
It is first class, and it is the gold standard of what other facilities will be mirroring from this point forward.
All right. We do have to take a quick break. We'll be right back with Lubbock County Judge Curtis Parrish. Welcome back to Mornings with Dave King and Matt Martin. Again, we want to get right to the phones with County Judge Curtis Parrish. And Judge, I'm looking at a story here, and I was just wondering if the county was involved. It's that the state of Texas established an alternate care site in Lubbock to expand the hospital capacity. And since we're at the 16% range, is that going to help us kind of get below that 15%?
Well, the answer to both of those questions is yes. Lubbock County, in conjunction with the city of Lubbock, who has, first of all, knocked it out of the park and done a great job. And I know we've been talking about vaccines and things like that. Do you realize that Lubbock is one of the top 3 sites in the nation for distributing vaccine to its citizens? So we're really, I know I say this a lot, talking about the gold standard. We are the gold standard of how to administer vaccine to the citizens, and that is to the credit of the city of Lubbock, their health department. But yes, we're in conjunction with TDEM, who's the Texas Department of Emergency Management, in setting up an alternative care site. This will increase our hospital capacity. I had the opportunity to tour that facility on Sunday. It is located, at the old Grace Hospital, Old Highland Hospital, if you know where 50th and University, the hospital there is. They've converted the third floor of that hospital into a COVID unit. Well-staffed, trained personnel, very, very proud of what they've done. They've started taking patients as of yesterday morning. Yes, the answer is, pardon me, that will increase our hospital capacity by 20. They're right now, they have 20 beds. They're able to expand if necessary. They're able to expand that to 30 beds. So if they get an influx, a large influx of COVID patients.
And we also have a new clinic that's giving out the the plasma, right, with the antibodies?
Yeah, and that's in conjunction with the same location.
Okay.
So there's an infusion center on the first floor of the old Grace Clinic, Covenant Clinic, Highland Hospital there at 50th and University. There is a 10-bed infusion center, and then on the third floor for those who need hospitalizations, it is available to them. We cannot thank the state enough for stepping in and helping us to open this. It is a partnership. I am very proud of the way that Lubbock County, the city of Lubbock, the state, Covenant Hospital, UMC, have all worked together to make sure that we are taking care of our citizens and in the best way possible. I tell people all the time, Lubbock is a medical community. We know how to do medical. We know how to do health care. And the state and the nation is looking to Lubbock right now. How are you doing this? And can we model that? So we are the model, the mentors for the rest of the state and nation. I'll be on a call today with some federal leaders. We're going to get Senator John Cornyn, talking with him as well, and just to make sure that the vaccine that is available comes to Lubbock, because we're able to get it in people's arms, and I'm very proud of the people of Lubbock, very proud of our healthcare workers here in Lubbock. They have done an incredible job, and we're seeing that number, those hospitalization rate numbers. We're seeing the positive rate numbers starting to come down and come down dramatically.
Yeah, well,
and
it's going up everywhere else
because of the effort of all involved.
And Judge, I got my shot. I got my first shot yesterday.
There you go.
And believe me, it's like almost being let out of jail in a way. But do you think that the number? Of course, I know it's an infinitesimal amount of people who have had the shot, but still, there's many people in Lubbock who have the shot. Do you think that is being reflected? And it seems as though there's a downward trend in infections.
Yes, there is a downward trend in infections, and there's a downward trend in our death rate. There's a downward trend in our hospitalization rate. It doesn't mean that it's time to let our foot off the gas.
Oh, absolutely.
We still need to stay diligent. We still need to stay on the forefront of fighting this virus, because we have seen since last summer how quickly it can get out of control. And I mean, it's like wildfire. If you turn your back on it for a moment, it's going to flare up again. So we will continue to keep our foot on the gas and make sure that we are taking care of the people of Lubbock County, making sure that we are on the front line of fighting this virus. We will get through this. I absolutely promise you we will. But it's going to take all of us being diligent, doing our part, and watching out for our neighbors. And that's exactly what this is about.
Well, Curtis, right quick, when we come back, we're only going to have like 30 seconds left. So I'm going to go ahead and let you have about 30 seconds now, and then let you go ahead and go. Is there anything else you want to talk about before we have to leave?
Well, I think back to the COVID thing. Let me encourage, if you have not received the vaccination and you want it, please call the City of Lubbock Health Department. Make that appointment. They're taking appointments dramatically. We're getting about 5,000 doses per week, and many of those now are coming back for their second doses. So stay diligent. and talk to your neighbors. Look after your neighbors. If your neighbors qualify, make sure that they're getting that vaccine too, because I think it will do what we can to curb this the virus so that we can get it under control.
All right. Well, Curtis, thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you.
And taking time out of your busy morning. We will talk to you again here in about a month.
Yes, thank you.
If not before. All right. We'll be back on News Talk 95.1 FM, 790 AM, KFYO.